my name is Freya Saunders Martin. I'm the head of marketing at the Access Group. I'm joined by Victoria today from the Care Workers charity, and we're going to be learning a little bit more about what the charity do to support care workers. I would love to start by just understanding a little bit more about the Care Workers charity itself and the work that you do within the charity to support care workers.
Of course. So the Care Workers charity was set up in 2009, but I guess it's going to be no surprise to know that from 2020, when the pandemic hit, we were suddenly very much in everybody's focus.
I can
that
imagine.
Coincided with our new CEO starting, Carolina, who actually is a care worker herself. So those two things really kind of focused our activity to support care workers in the UK. We're the only charity in the UK that benevolently supports care workers, and we're incredibly pretty grateful to do that job.
Yeah.
My role within the charity is as a fundraising manager, so I talk to corporate organisations and care providers all day to try and help them understand what we do and how they might want to be more involved in the work that we do.
Amazing. And I think I can probably guess the answer to this, but what is it that motivates you in your job at the Care Workers charity?
Yeah, you're right. It's probably pretty easy to imagine, but I love doing a job that I feel valuable doing. Yes, I talk to corporates all day, every day, and they're the people that I understand the language of from my background. But it's really great to be able to support care workers in times of really, really desperate trouble. So I love the blend of both things, talking to people that I know and understand and supporting care workers.
Bringing those two worlds together, and I guess actually being close enough to it to see the real difference and the real impact that you can then have on those care workers. I think, it sounds like a very rewarding job to be
really
in.
Is.
And,
I'm privileged.
Yeah, it's a really amazing job that you're doing. Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what the charity itself does? What are the ways in which you do support the care workers?
Of course. So there are 4 real main areas in which we support care workers on a day-to-day basis. So we're there as an impartial signposting place for them to come. Quite often care workers maybe don't want to go to their employer. It's maybe they're looking for some support that they don't necessarily want to share out in a public arena. So we're there to signpost for them, to tell them where to go to get support and assistance. We're there as advocates for care workers, professionalising their roles, advocating for them, taking the pulse of what's going on in their world, and being able to relay that to academic organisations, the government, the media. So we're very much there to support care workers and professionalise them themselves.
And I guess give them a real platform, because if you're kind of giving them that voice, it's really amplifying it. And I think certainly from where I'm sitting, there's so much value that care workers provide, but actually how recognisable is that across the country, in all of those different pockets? So giving them more of an amplification to their voices is so vital.
Critical. You're absolutely right. Without them, the country would probably disintegrate.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, we probably all have a connection in some way, shape or form to the care sector, whether it's a personal experience or whether it's through, a family or a friend. We all will come across a carer, at some point, and being able to kind of recognise the work they do and really platform the work that they do is really vital.
Incredibly important, and it's our advocacy of the sector is really, really very important for us. Yes, you're right. The other 2 areas that we work on constantly are being able to support care workers' mental well-being. So we've mentioned it already, 2020, the pandemic, there were a lot of very, very bleak times for health professionals and care workers. So we support care workers through the mental health first aid qualification. This qualification is a nationally recognised qualification. It's brilliant for the individual to learn some skills to support themselves, but also the people around them. And also as an organisation, excuse me, if you've got somebody that knows how to support others within the organisation, that's a really, really powerful tool.
Definitely.
So we support the mental health first aid qualification, but we also enable care workers to get up to 10 hours worth of therapy, self-referred therapy, in times of difficulty, whether that's professionally or personally. So we're able to do that. And then finally, our crisis grants. So this is the area probably that we help most care workers. Over the lifetime, 9,000 care workers,
Wow.
£5 million worth of grants. And in fact, over the next couple of days, we are about to give away our 10,000th grant to a care worker. So
That's phenomenal.
although we're small, we're mighty in a lot of ways. And
I was just going to say, I'd love to know a little bit more about the crisis grants, but just going back to your point around the mental health first aid, I think it's really, really incredible, because these carers are day in, day out caring for other people, giving them the opportunity to receive some of that care and, support themselves, I imagine is, absolutely crucial. Especially, like you said, going through the pandemic, there would be, I think, we could probably all do with some therapy to, talk about that period of time.
Yeah.
But for carers themselves to receive that support is brilliant. So giving them access to that is just great.
Yeah, it's a hugely valuable piece of work that we do, and we're incredibly grateful. We get funding from our supporters in order for us to be able to do that, and that's very, very important for us to continue to do that work.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the crisis grants.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to derail
That's
you,
all
but
right.
we can go back to that now.
Yes.
So the crisis grants, what exactly are these, and how, you said you're almost at your 10,000th grant that you're about to give away, which is a staggering number.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So I suppose a care worker, we know that they're out doing a massively valuable job every single day. Quite often, they're not paid their value, and quite often very much live hand to mouth. And so for us, we're seen sometimes as a place of last resort to be able to help a care worker in an extreme crisis situation. The cost of living has, as we know, affected very, very many people, particularly care workers who just don't have any backup. So the crisis grants are given out to care workers in times of need, financial need, and they're for all basic things, Freya, things like a car that's not gone through its MOT. For a domiciliary carer, that's absolutely critical.
It's crucial, yeah.
So we'll get a car through its MOT. We'll, sadly through COVID, paid a lot of funerary costs, burying people.
But these are all, quite significant, unexpected costs for people to have to bear. And, especially, like you said, in the cost of living crisis, which we see ourselves in at the moment, it's all the more important that there is a service available for people to access these funds.
Yeah, absolutely. And the average price of the grant that we give out is just £500. It's not a huge amount of money. We were talking to a care worker just a few weeks ago who her situation was that her washing machine had packed up, and okay, you and I would go, yeah, all right, we could really do without spending £400 on a washing machine, but for her it was an absolute deal breaker. She couldn't wash her uniform. She was really concerned that her colleagues were going to start thinking that she was a bit smelly. She was in really close contact with her clients. For us that was £400 that we were able to provide a new washing machine for her. For her, it was an absolute...
Well, for her, it's transformative, right? Because
Precisely.
I think it's exactly like you say, giving personal care, you are in very close proximity, and the kind of anxiety and anguish that she would be in without having that comfort of just, being able to wash her clothes properly.
Precisely. Yeah.
So being able to offer her that is, amazing.
So practical stuff that for a lot of people would maybe take for granted for the people that we support. It's crucial and life-changing.
It all sounds very impressive. And I think it, reflecting on all of the different facets of support that you offer at the Care Workers charity, it just prompts the question as to, we will have quite a lot of people, watching in on this session today. How can people get involved, be it little or large? I'm sure every contribution is important. How can people get involved in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, great, thank you. Absolutely, and you're right. No one size fits all. Everybody that we have supporting our work is different. So it could be that you might want to have a bake sale in the office and put a money box down and charge £1 for a brownie. Great. That kind of stuff is fab. It's really, it's really engaging. You get an opportunity to tell your colleagues about the work that we do. Whether it's supporting us as a corporate sponsor every year, paying an annual amount of money to us to enable us to keep our crisis grants open. If you're a care provider, becoming a sponsor of ours and supporting our work. Or coming on one of our events. We have annual events, treks, we have fire walking, we have axe throwing.
Sorry, what's fire walking?
Yep, over an open flame.
Okay,
yep.
I might not take part in that one.
We do all sorts of stuff, fun stuff, jumping out of a plane. We either organise those events or you guys can organise those events and just fundraise in our name. So,
well, it's twofold, isn't it, as well? Because it's partly the fundraising, but it's also just, again, giving you a bit more of a platform for the work that you do, being able to talk about it and, raise the profile.
Precisely.
And also, again, just champion the care workers that you're trying to support at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I know that you've got quite a lot of upcoming events, and
Yes,
Access will be taking part in it, myself included, which I'm really looking forward to.
Us too.
So I think following this session, I will make sure that we include, clearly signpost links to the upcoming events and how people can get in touch with you, get involved in any way, shape or form. And I think sometimes we're put off by taking part because it feels like we can't do enough, but actually even a little bit is really, really helpful.
And to coin a phrase, every penny counts, and it so does. Whether it's £10 or whether it's 10,000, it will support a care worker in a very, very dark time. So we're grateful.
Well, I'm really grateful that you've joined us today and given us a bit of an insight into the work that you do and the work that the charity is doing. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated having the conversation with you, and hope to continue the conversation soon.
Thank you, Freya, and thank you, Access.